Back to the broadcast. Now, when negotiated democracy was mooted in 2013, its proponents hailed it as an antidote to cure perennial clan wars. However, their opponents argue that it is a flawed process that claws back democratic gains and takes away the cruel tenet of accountability in leadership. Our political reporter Elizabeth Mutuko has delved into the matter.
In the northeastern part of Kenya, negotiated democracy isn't something new. The elders-led concept has been used to allocate political positions and also to advocate for finding solutions to problems bedeviling the community. The concept has gained prominence since the inception of devolution in the country in 2013. The process of allocating positions begins with clan elders who present their own candidates on various positions of leadership. With this, the process of negotiating starts. Top clanship elders tasked with the responsibility of selecting their suitable candidate who then are voted in various positions. Since the conception of the idea 8 years ago, the outstanding question is on whether the negotiated leaders have delivered any of the agenda to the people of Northeastern. Negotiated democracy has prevailed in the last two general elections in the northeastern part of Kenya. Its proponents and supporters regard it as pragmatic association of local interests. However, its strongest critics argue that negotiated democracy is a sanitized system of impunity with no foundational democratic ethos or ideological framework. In the previous general election, majority of the leaders were negotiated in, especially the 4 governors from the northeastern region who are currently serving as second-term governors alongside other leaders from the region. However, not all leaders. For instance, in Mandera County, Governor Ali Roba was re-elected against the wishes of the elders in what they interpreted as a blow to the Council of Elders. The concept, however, was endorsed in Wajir and Garissa counties, where Governor Mohamed Abdi Mahamoud and his Garissa counterpart Ali Korane captured the gubernatorial seats.
Mimi nikaongea na wewe, nimechaguliwa 2017 na wananchi wa Fafi. So nilikuwa nimepeleka hiyo application yangu kwa hiyo process, wakachagua mwingine ambaye alikuwa mbele yangu, na walisema yeye ndio aendelee kazi. Mimi nikakataa, ndio leo niko bunge. So wananchi ndio nzuri wachague ile mtu anataka. Kinizo swali hiyo.
It's a win-win, in terms of such. There are those that are disputing it in terms of saying that there's no, a comprehensive competition, free competition. That's all have their views, but anyway, for me, I will say it's a win-win. And for you to reach that consensus, you must have been able to do a lot of public participation. And public participation is in the constitution. And once there's a public participation amongst communities, that's for me, I will say it's a win.
Hiyo kiti ama hiyo mamlaka ingekuwa mzuri, sio wazee wa kuchagulia wananchi, ingekuwa mzuri yeye ama wananchi wenyewe wajichagulie binafsi yao for their own benefit, wajichague ile mtu wanapenda, sio kuselektewa. Ama kama mfano kuna senge ya katika mbuzi, kama mtu hataki hiyo senge aende kwa hiyo mbuzi achague wengine, hiyo ni kama hizo. Sasa we need at least, tunahitaji ile mtu tunataka tunajichagulia.
The factor of financing the process also comes in play in the negotiated democracy, and it is alleged some of the prominent supporters of the negotiated democracy and leaders part with tunes of millions in the process and also electoral campaigns. But despite said flaws, negotiated democracy is believed to be the solution to perennial problems afflicting communities in the northeastern region, such as conflicts, inequalities, corruption, and economic lethargy, and thus encourages harmony, cohesion, and unity.
When you realize you are not being favored, then you will try and discredit the other. And that is some of the things usually which happens. So, to put it bluntly, there might be one or two individuals. It's a possibility. I will not run away from that. Everybody cannot be good. There are some people who had personal interest, yes. But when you consider the majority of the elders who usually participate in these processes, they always think about the community more than the individuals concerned.
Nzuri sana tena niseme, manake si mambo demokrasia. Kwanza ni ukabila, kwanza ni hela, mtu analipa hela mingi kuliko mwingine. Sasa wanapatia ile mtu ambaye amelipa hela kuliko mwingine. Kwa hivyo mimi sikubaliana nao. Nataka wananchi wa Northeastern waangalie ni nani atawasaidia, wasikize sera za waheshimiwa ambao watafuta kiti ama magavana. Ndio wachague ile mtu wanafikiri atawasaidia. Manake bunge kazi yake ni kutetea haki ya wananchi.
To me, I believe it's not really democratic. It's not. You can buy your way. You can, if there are 20 wazes and maybe you try to corrupt about, let's say 15 of them, the person who has enough money can get his way. Yes.
Sijakubaliana naye kabisa. Kwani kama wewe unasema unataka kuingia siasa, unaambiwa milioni moja hapa chini. Sasa jamii ni yako, wazee ni wako, wewe ni kati ya hiyo jamii. Hiyo pesa unalipa nani? Ya pili, kama mambo ya kulipa pesa, kwa nini wasilipishe kabla hawajalipisha? Kwa nini wasifanye plani yao saa ile imekwisha, alafu ile mtu mmoja ambaye wameamua kumpatia nafasi wamlipishe?
Seemingly, the negotiated democracy will still play major part in the next year's polls, with Asare Gare family last month having chosen their own candidate in the gubernatorial race, settling on Mandera County Assembly Speaker as their candidate on the gubernatorial race, a process which was rejected by Education CAS Nur Hassan Nur, and who is eyeing the seat.
Isaac Kitty and the current Speaker of Mandera County, Mohammed Adan Khalif. The community deliberated the matter and finally concluded, after the withdrawal of the other two candidates, that the candidate for Asare in the 2022 gubernatorial race is going to be Mohammed Adan Khalif.
This issue is a question of delegates. The delegates were handpicked. They were picked by people who were sympathetic to some of the candidates. And consensus democracy has never been based on delegates. Consensus democracy has always been based on dialogue and persuasion, so that people can persuade themselves and agree and disagree. And it takes time. It's not a 2-day affair that you come and decide who becomes a governor, and then after 2 days in a small tent you say, we have chosen so and so. It doesn't work like that. It's a very tedious process. It's a process that takes days. It's a process that disagreements are not allowed to continue. It's a process that you don't vote. It's a process that where persuasion and dialogue takes the day.
I'm a household name in Mandera County. I understand their challenges. I have been living with them. I know what they require most, and I've served them for close to 20 years, and I don't think I will going to let them down.
Despite solving conflicts in the region, is the model fully accepted, and does it allow people to express themselves as individual but only a group? Pundits argue that has created a situation where there is intimidation on entire groups, including women who have been systematically been excluded in leadership positions because they are not represented in the council of elders, who recruit individuals from their clans to take up leadership positions. Negotiated democracy most significant flaw has been so far been its active deliberate efforts to leave women out of decision-making process. In Mandera, women have a committee whose role has so far been to rally support to the Council of Elders' decisions, even though these decisions cut them out and receive minimal input from women. No woman has been elected as governor in Northeastern. The absence of women is a big flaw that weakens the structural legitimacy of negotiated democracy.
Times when there is a lineup, then if you are in that negotiated democracy, maybe you can penetrate your way.
You can only, but there are positions specifically, they will say they belong to men, to male version of it from the clan.
Yeah, they basically believe that the constituency belongs to the male counterparts. But as well, we can try.
Ya kazi na ile wazee kidogo, nataka kujua wananchi wengine. Sababu baada ya kuamua huyu mtu achaguliwe kwa hao wazee, ni wazee wanaongea na wananchi. Wanasema patieni kura yenu huyo mtu. Sisi kama wazee tulielekeza huko. Lakini wakati wa implementation wakati wa kufanya kazi, wananchi baada ya kupata election anafanya na ile wazee kidogo tu peke yake. Nataka kujua mambo ya wananchi. Then wananchi wanaumia huko, watakuja kupotea huko. Baada ya mwaka 5 tena ni hiyo nakuja, maneno inaenda vile vile. Hata huyo mtu haelewi kama wananchi alichagua. Yes, alipata kura, lakini hajui wananchi hawa walikuwa na shida gani. So hiyo negotiated democracy, hiyo ni moja yao.
Many questions have been raised on whether through this process the people of northeastern Kenya really get required leadership, with question of checks and balances from the same elders being raised in Mandera immediately after Council of Elders lost to Ali Roba. The opposition disbanded and vanished into thin air, giving the governor free rein on how he conducts his politics. The past 8 years have revealed that the negotiated democracy model is deeply inherently flawed.
It was going to work, and I thought it was the best. But later on, I learned that it wasn't the way I thought. Yeah, I know quite a number of people who were brought by the wazes, who normally sit under a tree, and they tend to be the ones who control the community. But later on, any person, the majority of them whom they nominated or they proposed to the larger community, wasn't a good choice, the way I saw it myself. And I will prefer the community to let the individuals who wants to fight for a certain position, to let them do what they want, instead of passing through negotiated democracy. Negotiated democracy basically is wazee who are brought up together, and they maybe sometimes can favor somebody. You can never know. These are human beings. Yeah.
Tukichaguliwa, oh, we have been chosen for us, hiyo mtu atasema nyinyi humja kunichagua, wazee yenu ndio wametuletea nyinyi, sasa mtafuata yangu au mtafuata yenu. Yani it is a task. Sasa shida ndio hiyo.
Kuhusiana na hili, isiwe ni wazee tu pekee wanaamua, bali ni wananchi.
Mimi siko ndani kabisa na sikubaliana na wazee. Manake kuna mtu ambaye amepatiwa kiti na wananchi, for example, amekaa kwa hiyo kiti, hajasaidia wananchi, hajafanya maendeleo, hasa kwa ajili ya ukabila ama kwa ajili ya wazee. Wanakaa tena chini, wanasema hiyo mtu tena ambaye alikosea wananchi, hajaleta development, bazari hajalipa, hakuna kitu hata alifanya. Anapotea, anakuja kuishi Nairobi, kujipanga mwenyewe bila ya kushughulika wananchi. So mimi mambo ya negotiated democracy siko na kabisa.
This is just identifying, each community at least gets a position, but it is, it is so open to everybody. Eventually there are those that defy, and they either get or they either win. So towards the end of the day, there's free and fair competition among us people, those that were, identified through that democracy system that they're talking about, or those that defy. So in the end, there's an open competition among us, different competitors.
Considerations about which clan gets elected are in play of the appointment of the county executive committee members, chief of staff, and even directors within the departments. However, one flaws it takes very long to sack people, replace an incompetent CEC, chief of staff, or director because of a reluctance to ruffle the feathers and interests of clan X or any other clan.
Kwa community ni mbaya,
kwa sababu ile kiongozi inatoka kutoka hiyo negotiation democratic system, ile yeye anajua ni ile wazee tu alisaidia yeye. Hataka kufanyia kazi ya wananchi, wananchi wanaumia. Another one, si mzuri nchi kama Kenya ambayo iko democracy, wako na election democracy, si mzuri kitu kama hiyo. Ni mzuri kila kiongozi aende kwa wananchi na atafute kura, ajue shida yao, au waulize shida yao, hao wananchi waulize wanatufanyia nini ukipata kiti. Then wakati alikuja desk yake ya kuimplement, anawajua ya kwamba wananchi waliambia yeye nini, kila kijiji ako na shida gani.
Who are even from his own clan join ranks with some of us who are already saying that this guy is not good enough, and we supported the deputy governor. So now when it comes to that, and there was no revolt, there was no problem. He has tried all he could, but it could not work out. So if it was an issue of favoritism or giving money to certain individuals, then we'll have had a problem in our country. But the way things have worked out, that is part of the democracy, negotiated democracy we have talked about. That does not mean that now the one we have given will continue. It will depend on what he's able to do again.
With that said, are the people from the region ready to change if the opportune time presents itself?
For the few I know who were brought by that type of leaders are not the best. We regret. We regret. And I will urge them to let people be and let them choose. Let the community, let the grassroots people, let the people, the voters choose their leader than imposing a leader who is not right.
Ile njia mzuri, mtu yoyote, all the way from president to MCA, waende directly kwa wananchi, waende waombe kura na wajue shida ya wananchi. Hapo ndio sasa inaweza kusaidia wananchi. Huyu mtu wakati anatafuta kura, si ataenda home to home, kijiji to kijiji, nyumba to nyumba, alafu anajua shida yoyote ni nini. Bengine anaweza kusema kuresponse akibahatika mahali.
Wazee wawachane mambo na kushiriki. For example, saizi kuna magavana kuita ambao hawajaperform, bado wanataka kukimbilia mambo ya kazi yao ni kwenda kuchukua pesa ya wananchi, kuja kujenga magorofa hapa Nairobi. So hatutaki watu kama hao. Watu kama hao lazima waende nyumbani. Wazee wasiingilie, wananchi wenyewe wanajua. Kuna hospitali imefungwa kwangu, maji haonekani, sasa tuko na ukame. Sasa mtu kama huyo unarudisha yeye kwa ajili ya kabila yako, ama unamrudisha kwa ajili ya wazee walipata pesa, hiyo sisi hatukubali. Mimi Abdikarim sikubali na siko na hawa kabisa. Nataka wananchi wenyewe wa Garissa County ama Fafi constituency wachague leader ambaye wanataka kuchagua.
Time presents itself. The success or failure of negotiated democracy to the people of northeastern Kenya will be told depending on the side one leans on, but pundits will argue that despite of its flaws, has brought some light to the northeastern turf. Having chosen negotiated democracy as their route, the question lingers on whether the region will ever adapt any alternative political system. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV 47 Banisa, Mandera County.